What's up, AfterBuzzers? We're back here for Botched Season 5. We got Pixee Fox, the human cartoon, a lot of baggage under the eyes, lumpy bumpy nose, and the hottest potato chip in the whole world. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Want no scrub. Scrub isn't gonna can't get no love from me. Hanging on the passenger side of the
We gotta dance because we're celebrating this new season, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your host, Julia B. Bear, back again for another season of Botched. I am super excited to be reunited with my ladies. How you guys doing?
Awesome. Doing great. Yes.
So for people who are first tuning in, guys, let us know, what are your names? Why do you cover this show? Any relationship with plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery, all that good stuff.
Hey, you guys. It feels good to be back. It's your girl, Nicole Hutchins.
I'm Abigail Freyer, and I am a regional manager of medical spas, so I do a lot of consultations on very basic procedures that can be done to improve yourself aesthetically. I have a little bit of experience with consultations for actual surgery, but mostly we kind of focus on, the no rebound. You're not going to die from it or anything like that.
Awesome. Well, my reason's a little less, invasive, not too much. I'm actually a beauty blogger. I just love anything that has to do with skincare. I love surgeries, even though I haven't had any, but there you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing. I've been enjoying this show for quite some time now. I covered the last 2 seasons of it, so if you haven't seen that, make sure to go check that out. We have a packed show for you today. We're going to be talking about all these new patients, from the human cartoon to the lumpy bumpy nose, as I mentioned. We have some basketball boobs, and we also have Tiny from Tiny and T.I. show up and make a little cameo. And of course, at the end of the episode, we have not one but 2 special segments that you're not going to want to miss. So you'll make sure to stay tuned till the very end of the episode, and we can get to all that fun stuff. We're tonight breaking down episodes 1 and 2 of season 5 because the premiere was last week. So we'll start with episode 1. And in episode 1, we had Miss Pixee Fox, the human cartoon. I have to say, I don't think I've ever encountered anyone with that physique. What about you guys?
No, that was just a bit much for me. I've never seen anyone with a waist snatch like that. I don't know if I can really say
I don't even know if I would call it
snatch.
snatch.
Yeah.
That was scary. It made me uneasy. I'm like, you get in a fight with her, push her or something, like she's going to snap in half. And even with the corset, it was even, because I feel like, honestly, when they were doing the video of her just her body and whatever without any of the corset or anything else alterated, it looked fine. It didn't, not fine. She had a small waist, but you weren't creeped out by it.
Right.
But I think when she put the corset on, it was a little creepy,
Yeah,
Definitely.
I get what you're saying. I thought the same thing, that she was going to tip over, because it was just
oh my God.
the trunk of her body. I don't know how it's holding her
And then
together.
she's got the boobs that are just, it's
It's
she's
just
about to fall over.
very top heavy. Yeah.
It's a lot.
crazy.
She's actually a returning patient. So she was in season 3. Back in season 3, they decided not to operate on her, and so she's hoping that this time around they will. She's had so many surgeries in the last year. They were saying more than 15, which is such a large
That's
number.
just not safe for your body.
No, not at all. I'm really concerned for her. All that, just I like to call it tension on your body. I don't know. That's scary. 15.
I think a really cool show would be an undercover docuseries where you go and you kind of search out the people that are performing stuff like this, because it's wild to me the amount of, because I understand that these are the top notch people and you get what you pay for, but almost at some point it's really the bottom of the cheapest way to correct whatever you're looking for. It shouldn't be something that's going to put you in harm's way.
Absolutely.
Well, you're going under. These are invasive surgeries.
Yeah.
There's anesthesia involved. There's surgery. Literally, they're cutting your flesh open,
Right.
putting in, prosthetics or, all these things. So, yeah, her body's been through a lot, and she's hoping that Dr. Dubrow and Dr. Nassif are going to make her forehead smaller, because after her few eyebrow lifts, she thinks it's too big. Were you guys hoping that they would do that surgery?
No.
Why is that?
That's just where it comes to a point where you're paranoid. You need to understand what's realistic, and these are, I feel like even this episode, more so the second episode, you're talking to doctors. This isn't. They're medical professionals. They're not celebrities. They're not gossip columnists. Like they're professional physicians. Like, why would you think someone would do that?
And what's her view? I mean, obviously, her views on her image are very skewed because when I look at her face, I don't see anything wrong with her forehead, but apparently she feels that way.
Right.
What do they
It's
call
an
it?
obsession. Well, I mean,
what do they call it? It's a psychological.
It is.
Something.
It's like people that are anorexic. A lot of times they have body dysmorphia.
There we go.
Yeah.
Body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just, again, like wanting to look like a cartoon, having people draw you and making you look like this superhero is just, I believe she's taking it a little too far, and I was happy that they decided not to operate
you're
on
not
it.
a cartoon. You're a person.
Exactly.
You know? Like,
Yeah. She's had some significant surgeries, as we mentioned. She has 6 ribs removed. She has pubic hair put into her eyes for her, as eyelashes. Some of these, she calls it the doll P word. I'm not sure if I can say that, but like the vagina, the doll vagina. All these things. Some of these surgeries I had not heard about before. Had you? Were you surprised?
there's vaginal rejuvenation surgeries, and like a lot of women also have a vaginal reconstruction after, like, it's basically done dually when they give birth. So they go in and they basically just like tighten everything up. It's depending, if you have natural childbirth, it's normal to tear during childbirth a little bit.
Wait, so they do it right after they've had the child?
Maybe not that day, but it's almost a procedure where you're in the hospital
soon.
for the same, you're going to remain in the hospital to do that, just because it's like one and done kind of a thing, which I think if there's a purpose for it where you really do need something, she clearly has not given birth. I don't even know if her frame at this point can carry a child.
That part.
Right.
Like,
I really don't know. You're really creating a lot of complications for yourself.
I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just thinking about all that stuff going on down there, like having a vaginal rejuvenation. Then you're talking about pregnancy. And
Sorry, that was just a lot.
And,
A lot of people, I mean, honestly, with vaginal reconstruction, like, it's actually pretty common. Especially if it's, and now I'm getting like, but if it's the outer labia, like, that is actually redone a lot on people. Just like, because they don't like the way it looks, which I know sounds silly. Most porn stars have it.
Oh.
So they actually like cut it, and then it just like lays nicely.
But isn't it just okay? We're not going to get into that.
We're not, because we have actually.
Sorry, no, but like that's a fairly common one. I don't necessarily know with hers if they did something more, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, she was definitely something, very entertaining nonetheless. After her, we had someone who came in and she was saying that she has, Narae, was her name, and she has a lot of baggage under her eyes. She was a model and felt insecure that the people around her were getting jobs because they looked younger, so she wanted to look younger, went to Istanbul, where she's from, and ended up on getting some fat under her eyes. She originally wanted to get fillers. Abby, can you speak a little bit more on that? What's the difference between getting fat versus fillers?
It's actually funny. I was just talking to someone today about this, and they wanted to go have like a fat transfer, basically, for underneath their eyes. And I really, honestly, don't ever suggest surgery unless it's necessary. I don't see the point in doing that. The recovery time's a lot greater, and also the risks are a lot higher. So with filler, it's a hyaluronic acid base, so your body already makes that. So your body's not really going to reject it. Restylane is something that would be very common to put under the eye. It's a very thin filler. It's the thinnest filler. And it lasts about a year. And it just depends on, how much loss of volume you have, how much they'll put in. It's typically between 1 or 2 syringes is used for a person. I honestly don't remember how severe hers were. Now that I'm thinking about it.
They're pretty severe. At least she had so much swelling, and she just was super unhappy with the results. And her doctor actually told her, "Yeah, what you're saying is that your body rejected them." And she was like, "Well, if your body's rejecting it, why are you forcing it into my eyes?"
Right.
So it was a hot mess, and I was really feeling for her because she just really seemed super, super saddened by the whole thing. And she was saying that she'd be happy to just look the way she was before, not even like what she had intended to look like, just how she was before.
Right.
And I find that super, super sad.
Yeah.
And so did they do an eyelid lift?
Yes, they did an eyelid lift, and they
Okay.
just ended up, thankfully, were able to get rid of the swelling. You can
Yeah.
still, like, honestly, I could still see a difference, you know, that prior to surgery and her now, but again, like, she might go down with the swelling with time.
What's
things
really
like that.
crazy too is if you actually look at people, because like I know personally on me, like these lines drive me nuts.
The ones near your
hate
nose?
them so much, but I refuse to do filler there because like really it's gonna end up weighing your face down more so. So you technically, I guess, you want to do filler here first to lift
So it's
up.
cheekbones?
Yeah, but again, I'm not at the age where I feel like a filler is necessary. I mean, unless I'm doing my lips or something. But with today's society, it's so easy. We have filters on everything. We have, editing to smooth everything. It's really very normal to have a little bit of a line here. It's very normal to have a little bit, not a bag under your eye, but it's normal to notice that you have an under eye.
Right.
Like to have it be completely the same from here to here is not normal. That's not a normal thing. You don't even see it on children.
So just to make sure, that we're clear, she had gotten fat removed from her eyes, right? So she never actually had the
No, she
filler.
had a fat transfer. So she had fat added.
She had
They
okay,
took
so
fat
she had it
from her
added
abdomen, and they put it
to
under
the fillers on top of that, right?
didn't-
Or
they didn't
do
never
filler.
fillers at all. Okay, I just want to
Just took fat from one part of her body and then added it to her under eye, which again,
I've never heard anything like that
it's
before.
not super common. Normally you cut the skin
Yeah.
and then just pull it up to like
Right.
kind of even it, and then I guess you could do a filler underneath, but it's wild.
These doctors.
These doctors, but that's why I have to, just like give it up to Dr. Nassif and Dr.
They're so
Dubrow,
smart.
because they're so smart and they're taking these really high risk patients. She was saying that she's seen 20 doctors before them, and they all refused her because it was too high of a risk.
Yeah.
And they even joke around like, "Wait, are we crazy for doing this?"
Right.
And maybe they are, but you know what? It's successful. Pretty much every single time. And I just love that that's why the show is what it is. And that's what makes it special.
Right.
The characters like Miss Pixie, she's entertaining, but she's not. I think that the reason why they don't operate on her is because there's not a real necessity for it versus helping someone who she was saying, Narae was saying, listen, when I look at myself in the mirror now that Dr. Dubrow and Dr. Nassif have done the surgery, I no longer cry.
Right.
So there's a real purpose to it, I feel like.
Right.
And it's a necessity. It's not like, oh, I have I don't love this. It's like, actually, you're deformed, and we want to fix that,
Right. Yeah. So in episode 3, we talked about the first 2 patients, and then the last patient we haven't talked about is she was actually Tiny's best friend,
Yes.
and she has
Crazy.
Yeah, she has basketball boobs, and it was funny how they were kind of making fun of her, and her friend were making fun of them. The left one is super heavy and hard, and it feels like a legit basketball, baseball.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so when I saw her breast, I cringed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you notice me when I'm watching the episode and I watch the breast.
She can't handle the breast.
I can't handle the breast.
I can, but the noses for me.
Yeah,
oh
she
my
can't
God.
watch the noses,
No.
but I can watch the noses.
Yeah.
It's so weird, but I don't
So
know.
we take turns.
Right. I don't know if when you're watching it, Julie, but it's like I get this feeling when I know it's not me going through it, but it's like every time a woman's breast is being worked on, it's just like some type of intuition. I don't know, but it was crazy. I can imagine having a baseball feeling in my breast. That's just
It was very
insane.
graphic, and it didn't stop there. They were talking about how, again, another super high risk surgery, and there's a high risk that her nipple might die, and they were saying that nipples die, and then they've had patients.
That's where I lose it, man. That's where I lose it. The holes in the nipples. Like, that is just, I can't.
What did you think
handle
about
it.
the shower story? They were saying that some patients will be taking a
It's
shower
disgusting.
and they look down.
I literally, I was eating. I'm always eating when I'm watching the show, and I was eating, and I literally almost threw up, like full blown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw
That's
you
scary.
a few
That's
months,
scary.
Yeah.
Looking down and having your nipple just goes black and falls off.
I know, it's disgusting. And she was even saying, so wait, I could be getting it on with someone, and then
That was too much for me.
the nipple ends up in their mouth.
That's grotesque.
What?
It's not like
Yeah, it's not cute.
Yeah, it made the doctors laugh. They're like, no, not that much, but there's high risk. But you know what? High risk and high results.
right.
She looked great.
Right? She
Yeah,
did. She
yeah.
did look fantastic after.
She looked really good, and she seemed really happy. And Tiny, who has had a lot of plastic surgeries as well, she seemed really happy with her friend too.
Yeah.
So, but we'll talk a little bit more about Tiny later on in this episode. But before we move on to episode 2, because that kind of recaps episode 1, those were our three patients. Can you tell us a little bit about AfterBuzz TV and what AfterBuzz offers for our lovely listeners?
Yes, you guys. So, hey, AfterBuzzers, our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There is no network that works harder to serve television fans, but we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about those pesky notifications, don't be, because they are optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel, and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did so in the comments, and we'll thank you on air. For now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of Talk TV.
Thank you for that. Awesome. Well, yeah, guys, make sure to do that. And if you rather listen to a podcast, we're also on pretty much any podcast platform that you can find, and make sure to leave us comments, because we love keeping the conversation going, and we'll shout you out on air, and we'll just keep this little botched community going. Let's head into our review of episode 2 of the season 5. So in this episode, again, a lot of crazy characters. We had Natasha, who believes that bigger is better. We had Hope, who has lost all hope for her boobs. And last but not least, we had Stacy with the lumpy, bumpy nose. So I'm sure Abby was cringing because of the nose.
Oh my God. When the blood came out.
For our podcast listeners, Abby's eyeballs
They're
are
bulging
popping
out of my head. It was like, I was like, oh! Like, you don't expect that, and then all of a sudden, squirt, like some ketchup.
Yeah,
It was a lot.
definitely caught me off guard.
It really did. So let's start with her, since we're on the topic.
Let's do it.
Stacy, she's works in a dental office. She loves her job, but she really hates the fact that everybody always looks at her, and therefore she has so many hats to try to cover up her nose, which I thought was kind of sad.
It's, with her too, it was like, I understand where she's coming from. I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, I don't think you need a nose job. But at the same time, I think in anything that if you're self-conscious about something, it doesn't matter. Someone could literally be looking at you because they're talking to you, and you're going to be like, they're looking at my nose. Like, they're probably not. They're probably not looking at your nose. They're probably just having conversation, but it makes you feel so little and uncomfortable that's all you can think about.
Right.
So you're not even able to
Insecurity.
engage in like great conversation because you're just super insecure. So I see that and I get that. And her nose was botched. I mean, when it went black on that,
Clearly, yeah.
I would flip out. Could you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine?
can't.
being
They
like,
put a hole in
yeah,
her
no,
nose.
yeah,
For
exactly.
a year, her nose was like messed up.
Yeah.
It looked messed up.
I think that's how,
I hope
what
she
was
sued
going through
him.
my head. Like, she had to go through that for a whole year. You had to live with that. Like, I understand why she wanted to wear the hats.
Yeah,
Like, I
100%.
don't blame her. Like,
100%.
I probably would have woke up insecure every single day. I don't know how you live like that.
No,
to be honest
no.
with you.
And she
That's
did.
sad.
She did feel insecure. Her husband was saying that he feels that she's stuck in her shell now since this has happened. He really wants to find his wife, and I'm sure that this
Right.
must have put a strain on their relationship. But what were your thoughts on the husband? Do you think he's supportive, or was he a little too judgmental?
I think he was cool with either way.
Yeah, I thought he could have been a little more supportive. I felt like he was a little judgmental, but I mean, I guess we'd have to be in his shoes to really understand why.
Yeah.
I think he was being as supportive as he could be, because I don't know what that feels like to wake up every day with an insecure wife.
It's got to be draining.
Yeah, there we go.
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's like, just do some, throw my water. Just do something so that you stop. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that puts a problem on the marriage. Like, I know I'm jumping onto Hope, but like even her, like going through a divorce, I feel like certain things you need to get a grip on them, or else they really can ruin your life.
Right, people
Yeah.
obsess over them.
Yeah.
I mean, Stacy was saying that she lets her husband go to these Christmas parties by himself because she just doesn't want to deal with people, and that's really sad. Like, she'd rather stay home, and so that's why this surgery was so important. And it was crazy how during the consultation they were talking about how her doctor just made mistake after mistake. Dr. Nassif and Dr. Dubrow were saying that, listen, when you have a hole in a nose, for it to heal properly, you do not put a cast. You let it be open and you take a look at it, which is literally the opposite of what the doctor did.
Which also, when
Right.
you think about it too, like I'm not saying it's common sense, but like even like when you like get a really bad cut or something,
Right.
you typically do need it to have some air exposure so it can scab. So it's not like this soft like like have you guys ever had a cut that you cover and it ends up actually getting like pus or something on because it's like
I had my stomach cut open when my appendix.
well that
ruptured.
was there we go.
Yeah, so I know what they're talking about. Like literally when I had my surgery, the doctor was like, "Okay, you're gonna go home with." My stomach was like I could see the inside of my stomach. They had to leave it like a large incision open. I have a scar to this day, but had they have sewed it up, it would have been completely infected, and they probably would have had to recut in there and do everything over again. So yeah.
Yeah, and what
you
was
don't
even
do that.
crazier is that she reveals that the moment there's always like a moment when they decide like no, this is enough, and the moment where she was like this is enough is when the doctor said no, you can come back from a surgery. I just watched a few videos on YouTube.
I can't believe he told her that. What dumb? Well, clearly this dumb doctor did. Like, are you kidding me? Oh, I just watched a few videos.
Right.
If your surgeon told you that, what would you have done in that moment?
I mean, to be honest, I feel like a lot of these people are not doing the research that goes into something that's this big. Anytime you're being put under, you can die. Anytime.
Right.
People die all the time from anesthesia. Like,
Yeah.
so the fact that you're having that happen,
Yeah.
are you not asking for how many clients they've done? Are you not asking for before and afters?
Right.
I would want to know how many surgeries you've been under. Also, I think it's
It's
not super common that someone would perform nose job and a boob job. Typically, you have more of a specialty.
Yeah, that was strange.
So I also feel like with her nose, he kind of just winged it to get some
100%.
money.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Like
And-
when I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, he was just winging it.
Well, and also specializations for plastic surgery is now becoming more common, where before it was really, I mean, it's not heavily controlled, if that makes sense. Like you have dermatologists that do Botox and filler, and you went to school for, you know what I mean? You can literally take an injection course. Nurses, regular just nurses that work at a hospital can take and be certified to do it. But it's like, unless you have that practice, you don't know what you're doing.
Going back to, some of the questions that these patients should be asking these surgeons, like before going under, is it okay to ask how many patients have died under your care?
Or have any.
Or have any? I think that's a fair question because I'm just curious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because like you said, every time you go under, you're risking that.
Right.
You're
And I
doing
feel like,
anesthesia.
honestly, most, if they've had a death, they're going to probably lose their license.
Oh.
It's not like you know what I'm saying, just because there's something, or the
what if
anesthesiologist is going to have.
Okay, like what if it's the anesthesiologist's fault?
But that's what I'm saying. Then they'll lose their.
Okay.
They have. This is why
There's-
also the insurance is so expensive.
Right.
Hospitals have to have super high
Right.
insurance for cases like this because they'll
Okay.
get sued and they have to do like
Pay
a whole
out a ton of money.
Yeah, pay out a ton of money, figure out
Right.
what went wrong, how they could avoid this in the future. Because at the end of the day, everyone makes mistakes at their job. There's nothing you can do about it. As
Right.
hard as you try, there's gonna be, someone's gonna be really tired one day, and this is a job where you can't make any mistakes, but human error, there's that's super small 1%, but it's possible. So that's why, again, it's like you guys are saying, it's super important to ask those questions and go see a specialist. Look at these doctors
And
as you
go
were
to more than one person.
Yes, second opinion is super
Yeah.
important. But you were mentioning how Stacy's doctor did her nose and her boobs. Her boobs were great. Again, we need a specialist. Look at our botch doctors.
Right.
Do you ever see one do, Dr. Nassif will do the nose and all that. Dr. Dubrow will do the boobs.
And how much? And here's where it's like, okay, so how much money are you trying to save? Do you know what I'm saying? Because like, okay, so this doctor is $20,000. This doctor is, 15. So you're going to risk $5,000 over. Do you know what I mean?
At that point, if you really have to question,
That's
it's
what I'm saying.
$5,000, you shouldn't be getting the surgery.
No.
You can't afford it.
Right.
Like, just
Or
save
when
up
people
some
go
more
to
money.
Mexico to get certain procedures done, it's like, it's your life. It's your life.
Yeah. But you know what? Thankfully, they took on this difficult risk of a case.
Yeah.
And she looked super, super happy. Her whole family seemed super happy. And she says that she is ready to hang up the hat and be the proud wife she has always wanted to be. So my question to you guys is, do you see that happening? Can a physical transformation like this really help her confidence in their marriage?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, yes, I do believe that it can help her confidence if she really feels that way, how she expressed, oh, I feel more confident, I can be a better wife, then yeah, absolutely. And that's going to take the weight off of him for sure. He's not going to feel that, I guess, that emotional drain, from her.
I feel like that procedure made her more comfortable in her own skin. So in return, she's choosing to be a better wife. I think that today we're really screwed up as a society. And even with with Hope, with her daughter, being like, oh, she's never had a man. Like, I feel like putting beauty with like man and making that be the goal in life, it's really discouraging to me. And also the fact that we put so much pressure, like, oh, you can't be a good wife if you have a big nose.
Oh,
do you know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
that's confusing to me because what's going to happen eventually, and you see that really a lot in LA, you see girls that go to all the same they look related. Like, you know what I'm saying? Your nose looks similar. Everyone has the huge cheekbones that are fake, and the brown hair or the blonde hair. It's just like, don't you, to a certain extent, doctors are always going to, while your nose is different from my nose, is different from her nose, they have a style to what they're doing. What's really cool about people is we're all unique. And so to me, it's really, I'm all for it, and I'm all for doing what you want to do to make yourself feel better, but think about it. And you should do it because you want to, not because it's going to make you or break you.
Should have called Dr. Gavami. Just saying.
Should have. But you know what? I hope her the best. She seems really happy. And she seems to have found new hope, which Hope, another patient that we got to meet today.
She was a funny lady.
She was a funny lady. She had some cute little one-liners. So she said that she had no hopes for her breasts because after giving birth at age 24, she got them done, and it was just a mess after mess after mess. And she's at this point in her life where Dr. Dubrow and Dr. Nassif are her only hope to get the breast she's always wanted. She seems to, over the years, have a lot of insecurities that have kind of piled up, and she seems to have given that over to her daughter. At least that's what she said. Do you agree with that? Do you think her daughter's a little messed up from all of this?
Emotionally.
Yeah,
yes.
Why so?
Just because, well, first of all, I want to say that you could tell they have a great relationship. I don't know if that was because of how close they got due to her mom's botched surgery. Perhaps that was the reason. But yeah, I just think that putting an emotional toll on your daughter, and I can relate to this. Getting a little emotional, you guys. Sorry. I think that was a little unfair to the daughter, and I get it. You're going through a divorce, but I felt like after she went through that divorce, now she's leaning on her daughter for more than just the support for going through that surgery. If I'm making sense right now.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer in like there's friendships and there's parents, and they can't be both.
Right.
Not that you have to be like, you can have a great relationship with your parent, but it almost seems like they're more friends.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that that's the kind of mom that like she just wants to be cool, and she's messed up. She's really messed up in the head, and it's like, why? You're relying on your daughter as like your sidekick. She's not your sidekick. She's actually your daughter.
Yeah.
And that just puts a weird perspective. Like your daughter shouldn't have to care for you, especially at that age. It's different when you're older, but.
Right. And she had her daughter young too.
She had her young, and this is something that's been going on for a while. Now her daughter's 21, and she has all these insecurities as well. But as you're saying, she's been her sidekick. At age 11, she was in the room when she had to stab her own.
That made me sick. Can you imagine if your parent just like killed themselves in front of you?
No.
That's crazy.
Do you know what I'm saying?
No, but I know. Yeah,
I know what you're saying. But to give context, it's like she wasn't trying to do that. She just didn't know. No. A nurse told her to perforate.
No, the nurse didn't tell her that. The nurse said if you have a ruptured implant, the surgery will be less expensive because it's an emergency. Insurance will probably end up covering some of it. It's an emergency situation. She didn't say to go do it. First of all,
she planted the idea in her brain.
But what sane person goes to their house and takes a needle and shoves it into their chest?
With their 11-year-old daughter.
With their daughter. I can see, if you want to be a psycho, do it with your husband or a girlfriend. Who brings their baby into the bathroom?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And they were saying that's so high risk because they call this the breasts are the tiger zone, and there's so many veins that if you touch the wrong one, you can bleed to death super quickly.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But like that's where I don't know if she just doesn't isn't established to have friends, but who I don't even know. But like, also think about it. Like, were your parents like whipping their boobs out at you when you were 10 and 11?
No, and
do you know what I'm saying?
She did mention that, like, because her kids would make fun of her, like she would take out the fake implant and
smack
It
them.
smack them in
honestly
the
makes
face.
it
I'm
kind
like,
of makes
what?
me it makes me uncomfortable, not in a sense of like being like straight edged, but like it's not like I don't know. It just gives me this dirty vibe. Like it was weird. It was very weird
For
me.
sure. Yeah. It's like, it was the relationship dynamic between her and her daughter. It was cute at first, but then the more I was listening to what the daughter was witnessing as her mom was going through this, I said, oh no, I don't think this is
It's
normal,
not
you
healthy.
guys.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
No, it's not. But thankfully, the surgery was a success. She's super happy. And we seem to see some growth because at the end of the episode, she's like, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. You go hang out with yours. I'm sure you
Right.
guys were happy to see that.
Yeah.
I mean,
You didn't buy it?
I didn't. I mean, I did in the moment, but I'm just like, okay, so what? Now that you're confident, which is great, you got everything back in order. Now it's like, okay, I don't need you anymore. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being cynical, you guys. That's just what I felt in the moment. I'm just like, so what does this mean
I like
now?
that the daughter said, I have my things to do. Like, you guys take care of her, and that it wasn't necessarily the mom saying it. I think the daughter was sick and tired of the bullshit from her mom.
Yeah, I think so,
Think about
too.
it. Like, it gets drained. Like, she probably has her own problems. She probably has her own body issues, and she's just always worried about her mom's boobs. Like,
Yeah, she was a very bubbly kid, but she was saying, she's 21. She's never had a boyfriend before, which, I mean, it's fine if you have, to each their own, but it seemed that it was a deeper issue. That it's not that she, by choice, it's more so she's not putting herself out there, and she's, shutting off certain experiences that are really important to growth
life
and happiness.
experiences she's missing out on. Yeah.
Because she's having to deal with her mom and her bed rest.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm super glad and super happy for her, and hope now has new hope. But
Good.
and I really liked how she had those one-liners. She was like, "Hope is back, bitches."
She bitches is her favorite word, I think.
All right, so we have one more patient to talk about, and then again, as I teased at the top, we have some super fun special segments we're going to get to. So before those special segments, let's finish out our review with Natasha, who claims that bigger is better, and she definitely has taken the word big butt to a whole new level. I at first, when they were introducing her, she was sitting down. I was like, oh, I guess she's big. But then when they were showing these different angles, I mean, that was, we said TV does add a few pounds. Do you think that was it? No,
Oh, absolutely
I think
not.
she added a few pounds.
Yeah. By far my favorite patient character on the show.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
like by far, because she was completely out of her. She's clearly not in a real world, obviously.
But it's
She's
like
in her
almost like
own
she
little
knows
world.
that.
Yeah, I know.
It's like
She
she's
gets
okay
off on
being
that.
crazy. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
She
does.
said she turns herself on. Like the idea, she's like, yes, bigger. Ooh, yes. So I'm just like, girl, like.
That Cardi B, I shot my own name during sex.
But you know
saying,
what
though.
though? Like, it's great to have self-confidence, and it's great to love yourself. However, she's not loving herself
No.
because she's changing herself to love herself. So you don't
Exactly.
actually love yourself. You're just as bad as
Right. That's a front.
somebody else because you feel like you need this to be in love
And then
with
she
yourself.
has to gain so much weight
She's
in order
large.
to.
If you looked
to make her butt
but if
bigger.
you looked at her when she walked in to see the doctors, her waist is easily larger than Paul's. Her actual waist.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah, that's
It
true.
looks small because her ass and her boobs are so big.
Right.
But her actual trunk of her core is bigger than his.
Yeah.
She's a large woman.
She really is, and
She's obese. She's obese clinically.
Oh,
But
okay.
that's fat.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see obese, but I get what you're saying though.
She's-
But I mean,
she
yeah,
is.
technically.
And the only reason she doesn't have rolls on her waist is because those have been taken
That's
out
right.
and moved. But the actual fat doesn't change.
That's what Kim Kardashian did, right? She transferred fat.
I don't know what Kim did. To be honest,
that's
I don't honestly.
the
I don't.
story that's out there because there were some pictures that came out of her like.
Yeah.
And I know I was like, that looks like fat transfer.
A lot of times, fat transfer too goes away because it will. The fat you normally can keep. I think it's like 30 to 40% will remain, but then your body's either going to get rid of the fat because it knows it shouldn't be there, or it's gonna it's gonna basically like move the fat around.
And it's actually a lot of higher risk than I thought it was. That's what they brought up in the consultation. They were like, you need to stop doing this.
I
It's
think
really
people
dangerous.
think that you have like almost like like literally like a pocket where it's just like, oh, skin, fat, muscle. It's like, no, there's capillaries, there's your fat is living. It's a living organism, so it reattaches on, which is why when you get lipo, a lot of times you have to be wrapped up for a while because you're losing that fat. So that skin needs to reattach on to where the fat was lost so that everything can continue to function. Our body's incredible, but at the same time, like,
can't push it too much. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And she's like, she's gone overboard with pushing herself. Now, is the fat transfer process a little more safer than the implants getting in your butt?
Depends the area.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I really don't think. I mean, again, like they were saying, in the United States, it's about 600 cc's is what's the max for a fat transfer. That's safe, okay? But like when you're doing this is crazy, and I just don't understand what you're getting out of it. Like to have the biggest butt in the world, okay, cool. That's cool for 2 seconds when you realize you sure it's an attention-seeking thing, but then what do you do?
Right.
But how does she, you asked this question when we were watching this, how does she wipe herself? Like, that has to be the most difficult thing
I literally
ever.
probably said it so vulgar, but
Yeah,
I was
I know,
just
it's
like...
just-
No, I know
does
a lot of things must be really hard for her to do. They were even asking her about when she's in the plane. She literally bumps people in between the aisles because she's so big.
She's got a really deep internal issue that is causing her to really need to be attention seeking by doing this. And I don't know what it is, but I think that a lot of these people really should be recommended to a therapist.
She was cute when she was younger. Do you guys remember the picture? I was like, she looks fine.
You know what? That's my problem. I think that's my problem. I'm all for a big butt.
Me too.
If that is what you're working with, and you go to the gym, and if you max your ass out at the gym, then that's where it goes. That's the biggest it's gonna get. So, and I'm cool with that, and I'm cool with. I like plus size models are gorgeous, like Ashley Graham's gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
But that's your body. You're not gaining 44 pounds to move fat around. I don't.
Again, it's this idea of using your body as Play-Doh and always having tweaks and turn. It doesn't matter if you rather be super skinny or big. Neither of those. If you're so obsessed with changing it all the time, it's not body positivity. I'm sorry, it just isn't. Body positivity is literally just being happy with what God gave you.
And working and putting an effort to maybe have a better body, but in the sense of what's natural. Like have a toned body. That's great.
Yeah.
Go to the gym. Be healthy. This is not healthy.
It isn't, and it wasn't no surprise that they decided no operation for you, at least not in our office, and we highly recommend you not to do this further. Do you think she's going to listen?
No. 100%.
She's not.
Even when they told her you can die, and like I think that it makes me angry, and I don't know why I let a show like this make me so mad, but like I feel like people really don't grasp like life, like actual like life. Like you're really wanting to have your ass be fat.
She doesn't
to maybe
care.
die.
And you heard her say she would rather live a short,
but even
exciting life than this long,
but it's
boring
like, why
life.
is it boring? So it's boring,
not boring
to just be your size? That's boring?
So she doesn't care if she dies young, you guys. That's what she
and,
does.
and the way she said that too, she was like, I don't care. Like, I'll die when I'm 50. Honey, like, he's not saying, it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, once you hit 50, you die. I mean, like, tomorrow you could.
Right.
Tomorrow you could have that happen.
It's a super high risk thing. And again, guys, just be very careful. If you're listening and you're thinking about these surgeries, just make sure that you ask the right people, the right questions, and don't jump into anything too quick.
And honestly, think about your literally later in life. What do you do
Exactly.
when you're not able to
sit down?
to take care of those things?
Yeah.
Or when because she's going with trends. When pop culture doesn't tell you it's cool to have a huge butt anymore, then what do you do?
I know, it's crazy. But
Then you have all that skin.
Right.
And again, this idea of trends and plastic surgery, I think this is a good transition into we have a quick news bite for you guys that we're going to get to. Because in this episode, they're talking again with butts and how everybody wants a Kardashian butt. So the botch doctors were on the Steve Harvey show, and they were talking about just these trends that we always see. They see these trends that everyone wants a Kardashian butt, and it says just more and more every year we see these cases. However, what people don't know, the doctors were explaining, Terry said, it's turning out to be 2,000 times more fatal than any other operation of any kind, because people are not seeing the right doctors. They're putting things that they shouldn't be putting in their butts, and they're wanting to go too big. And again, you're sitting on these things. It's really a hard area to operate, and these are a lot of new procedures that we weren't doing in the past, so there's not enough how you have to be have a few years back to look how things are. So it's be very, very careful when it comes to these things. This was an article in OK Magazine, so if you guys want to read more about that, I urge you guys to check it out. With that being said, let's head into our very special segment where we see Shaq and the infamous hot potato. So in the second episode of season 5, we had Hope talking about, before she was going into surgery, how she ate the hottest potato in America. And Shaq is someone who did this as well, and she was referring to the specific video, so we thought we'd play it for you guys.
Not making a face.
No water yet, brother.
No water yet.
There's nothing to me. What's that little? I'm not making a face, though.
Yes, you are.
I'm just coughing. I'm not making a face.
His face, yes, like he is making a face.
That counts as a face.
I'm not making. Ernie, I'm coughing.
I know when you go. that
Ernie, I'm
counts as a
coughing.
face.
This should be making me like, I'm not making a face. Oh, it's hot.
That water bottle looks so little next
Like,
to
that's
her.
some milk.
Milk. Yeah, water's the wrong thing to drink when it's hot.
Water made it worse.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Bread and milk.
He's sweating. Gotta take that jacket off. All right, thank you for that.
That's hilarious.
Would you
I love
guys
that.
ever try this?
No, and actually, a job that I was working at earlier this year, we had this challenge, the chip challenge, and I decided to back out. And I'm glad I did, because it was really the guys who participated, and their reaction was classic. It was just like Shaq's, but a little bit worse.
That's hilarious.
I mean,
I
yes
love
or no?
spicy food.
Okay.
I love
So
when I eat like nachos at the movies or whatever, I put like a full jalapeno slice on each chip that I eat. Like I love.
No way.
All right,
love
Nicole,
spicy
next
food.
week we're
We're gonna do it.
Her.
We're gonna do it. I don't know though. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
You know what? If Hope did it, maybe
Maybe. Maybe I can't. What did she say? I ate it like a boss bitch.
Exactly, that is what she said. All right, so we're almost done with this review. Unfortunately, we're running short on time, but we do have time for a very special segment where Abby is going to tell us about some different celebrity before and after surgeries. And today, none than other, we're doing Miss Tiny.
Yes.
Because she was in episode 1.
I don't think we needed to tell anyone that she's done some plastic surgery.
Why is that?
I think we have that covered. I think what's most intriguing about her is her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people have that surgery done.
What kind of surgery is it?
So it's an implant. I believe it's like they're not necessarily replacing the cornea. What they're doing is they're putting a cut, and then they do some type of iris implant almost.
Mm-hmm.
Most times, like if it's done here, it's done for a medical reason. She went to Africa to have it done, and she's always open about all her plastic surgeries that she's had. There are a lot of complications that can arise from it. It's only been 4 years since she's had it too, so we don't know in the future what's gonna happen. It's cool. Her eyes look cool, light, but again, it's cool. And
it's a trend. Again,
it's a trend.
You can buy those.
Get the contacts, the colored contacts, and live, girl. Nothing happened, but what
Her
if it
daughter
did?
did the same thing, by the way. And
She did.
She
did.
She's starting to have complications.
She is.
Yeah, she actually is.
What do you know?
I think
What?
she. I can't remember the full on details, but she said her eyes were starting to become very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think she actually got them removed, and now one of her eyes are different from the other one in terms of color.
It's just not your eye's a living organ. Your eye is an organ. I don't get it. I really don't understand. And when a celebrity does it, it almost checks it off as it's cool, you can do it. And then you have all these uneducated people going to anyone that maybe says they can do it, and people
She
kind
was
of
cute right here. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is a younger
She's
version
adorable.
of her. Yeah, I don't get
She's
it.
53.
Oh,
She's
okay.
old. Okay. She's older. Because T.I. is so young.
Yes.
She has 36.
Yeah.
She's definitely she's done lipo. She's had a tummy tuck.
Lips.
She's done tons of filler in her face.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that she's necessarily had a facelift. No, she has a fake breast,
Okay.
fake butt.
She had a fake butt.
yeah, fake hair.
Yeah, and you guys were mentioning her
Freak
daughter.
everything.
So her
Yeah.
daughter, Zonique, she actually is facing possible blindness over this controversial eye color surgery. If you guys want to read more about that, you can go ahead on intouch.com and have a
she's
whole
young.
article.
Oh my gosh,
she's
super
really
young.
young. She's really young. So just again, she's 22 years old and facing possible blindness.
Anyone who
believe that?
signed off, like, if you want to do something stupid cool, but don't let your kid.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, her
Again,
mom was
And you know
supportive
that
in
her mom, I'm sure, paid for it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's just that
Wow.
don't change things that don't need to be altered.
Yeah.
Again,
Wow.
possible blindness. That's not being able to see. Think of all the things that you
Miss out on in life.
You have to relearn everything. You have
Yeah.
to relearn how to walk, read, all these things. And if, again, there's so many people who suffer from these things and they don't have a choice. And the fact
Right.
that you're making choices that put you in this situation is just, it's very saddening.
It is. Over
really
eye
is.
color.
Yeah.
Over an eye color.
Just do contacts, you guys.
Well, guys, once again, Botched has us full of opinions.
Yeah, sorry, always.
No, don't be sorry. I think that's why we love this show so much is that it's entertaining and yet it's, it is thought-provoking because we're just going back and forth on morality of certain things.
Right.
It's a lot of aesthetics, but there's a lot of politics that goes into it. So it was a pleasure being reunited with you ladies and talking about
miss
this.
my girl.
Yes.
And thank you guys so much for listening. This was such an amazing episode. Again, hop in the comments and we will shout you out on air next time. If you want to keep up with me personally on Instagram, you can do so at Bonjour Juliet. And ladies, where can they find you?
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at The Real Nicole, and that's Nicole with a Y.
Thanks for joining us tonight, guys. You can find me on all my social media platforms at Abigail_AF.
Thank you guys. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.